This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey, back at ASTE in the studio here. God, this beautiful boardroom sponsored by Shopware, of course, from ASTE and ASTE. And lucky enough to have Paul Danner, Paul Scanner Danner. When you're introduced, you say, "Hi, I'm Paul Danner." Or do you say, "Hi, I'm Scanner Danner"? What do you say?
I just say I'm Paul.
You're Paul.
I'm not Dan. I might say I'm not Dan.
Yeah. Last night at the pre-party, "Hi, Paul," and it felt funny just to call you Paul.
Yeah, it's normal to me, but I guess for some it would be different.
Damn.
Yeah.
What an interesting career and a brand and a name that you've built for yourself. And you were on my show a while back, and I think I probably asked you this question: did you ever realize you'd get here? And we all know the answer because you're such a humble guy.
I try to be humble, Carm. It's sometimes difficult when you get 1,000 comments a day of like how great you are, and that can have an effect on you, and I think sometimes a negative way. But I'm just grateful for everything, and to be here in a live situation and get to meet so many of the people that have been impacted was just recharge my batteries last night. And I told you before we turned the mics on that I purposefully didn't take a class early this morning because I knew I was going to stay up late and socialize, and it was really important to me to be able to do that. And I'm just honestly this morning still blown away by some of the stories that I got to hear.
Well, let me. It reminds me of the love that people have for you, and it's kind of it's not a smoozy word. I think it's there's a trust, there's a compassion, there's a caring. You've probably helped people out of things unknowns to you. You're sleeping at night and people are saying, "Oh, he bailed me out," and you don't even know that.
That's true. And
when you come to events like this, and it happens to me too, nowhere near your level, but when people come up to me and says, "Oh my God." I love what you're doing. I love the kind of subjects you're covering. And you know what it does to me, and it probably does to you? It makes you say, I got to work harder.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And, I have often, the longer I do this to navigate further, and it's like, where are we going next? And now that I have my son working for me, and I know that you can relate to that, and having family members working for you behind the scenes, and we think about them too. I'm not just looking at, well, let's see what I can do to my retirement. Let's see what I can do to carry this on to my son, and those things are all in my mind all the time. I'm sorry, Carm, your original question, I was rambling on that, but I had a point to that and I forget what it was.
Well, it was the fact that so many people adore what you do, appreciate what you do, and it's humbling because you're a humble guy, you're a Christian guy, you see that stuff. Your ego never drove you where you are today. Yeah,
for sure. And I don't know. I am humbled by this opportunity, and sometimes I feel like it's not worthy. And being here especially, I'm sort of a celebrity when I walk through.
Yes, you are.
Sometimes I hold my head down. I told Brian Pollock, who I came here with, I'm like, I should have brought a mask or a hat.
No, a hoodie. Put a big hoodie. Bring it over. Says, "Oh, who's that masked man?"
Yeah, just because sometimes I just want to get to that coffee pot that's on the other side of the room and get some coffee first, and I can't get there, and I like all of that stuff. Coming into this was a little bit anxiety. Gives me anxiety because that's not me. I'm not here for that.
You're not here for celebrity.
No.
You're probably here to network and to learn. I mean, I saw you in a class yesterday.
I'm here I took all EV classes.
Yeah, I saw you yesterday at the CTI Training Center. Yeah. And this guy was on the floor, and you were so into everything that was going on. It wasn't that I was impressed, but knowing I was going to do the interview with you today, I said, this is how this guy learns. But more than anything, you've been the trainer for so many people because you are self-taught.
Yeah.
And so here is the challenge that we had in our previous episode was to push this industry to a completely new level about making training as a pillar inside, a strategic pillar inside your company. And it's not just pay for the training, pay for the room and board, pay for the class. It's okay, it's done. Come back. How do you make that training a sticky portion of your business? How do you get your money's worth? Well, the tech teaches the people that weren't there, because when you teach, you learn.
Absolutely.
And you practice, and maybe you do a personal case study and you build a resume on what's going on, and training becomes an infectious part of so the question is are we going to survive if we don't train?
No, we're absolutely not. And I mean, some people were asking me too, well, what are you doing here? What class are you teaching? And I said, I'm the student. I'm here to learn. And I think if we have to continue learning. And sometimes that learning is on the job. Not sometimes. As a mechanic, as a technician, every day on the job is you're learning. As long as you're asking yourself, the questions, why did this happen? And you're not just comfortable sending that car down the road because it's fixed and that's more, money in your pocket. As long as you understood maybe even where you went wrong and your approach and why, then you're learning on the job. You really are in this field. But there is a level that we can't really achieve in that environment, where we need to take a step outside of that environment and come to a place like this where we can sit in a classroom and we can get theory and operation, things that you can learn reading online, but being in a classroom with an expert who has done this, who has hands-on experience, and then picking up those little tidbits of information. I mean, that's why I'm here. And I was in Isaac
Rodell.
Rodell.
I just had him in here.
Yeah, his class and his expertise, and I had probably at least 5 or 6 solid takeaways from that class. And I've always said, if you come out of a class with one piece, just one, it was worth it. It was worth it. And I had 5 or 6 out of that class. So, I mean, I'm excited to learn still, like learning new things. And it almost, it just recharged my batteries too, as well as, hearing other people and their stories and how I've impacted them has recharged my batteries. This training does that too. I think for any technician that truly wants to learn, that's what this kind of environment does.
Okay, let's turn off the recorder. We're done. The messaging is done. I mean, we've, and if you don't listen to what Paul just said, shame on you. Here's a man who's really a superstar in our industry that has taught many people through hard knocks so much, who's here training, and he wants to be a wallflower.
Yeah.
I totally love it. So the why, I think that is, it seems like the world is lacking common sense anymore.
True.
And I think the question of why helps you build it.
Common sense and why? Yeah, absolutely. Instead of looking at just being narrow view in front of you and worrying about the money and getting the car fixed, if you can ask yourself why that happened and figure that out, then that answer to that why question makes you more efficient down the road. The next one you get, you can be a lot quicker at making that call. And then you learn from that and you make money off of that. That 5 extra minutes you may spend asking yourself why on that car, did it do that? And you learned the answer. You took the time to figure out that answer, whether it was to get on the phone even and call a friend or research that information. That's something you're going to make money on for the next 20 years.
Is it important to know the how, the fix?
Yeah, the how,
because you get the why. Why did this happen, and how did I fix it? And I can't help but think that how is a component here, even though there could be a couple of different ways to get to solve the problem.
Well, yeah, I think the how part comes in as you're doing it. So the how is, okay, how do I attack this problem? I think, I guess in my description, almost the how and why would be tied together.
Okay.
In what I'm talking about.
I was just thinking that how is first, and then why evolves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the how part is along the way, and the why part is when you're done.
Yeah.
When you put the right part on that car and it's fixed, don't just be happy about it's fixed. You need to know why that happened. And the how was the was the route along the way. And of course you learn from those too, you know, that's on the job training.
How much time do you and your son spend editing up a show?
Wow, that's a good question. It depends how long. It depends how long it took me to find the problem. So I'm just thinking of this Honda that we just released. We had 2 days in this car. We had 2 hours one day and 2 hours the next day. So Caleb would have 4 hours of footage to go through on that. That's probably at least 40 hours for him to go through that. On average, a 4-hour video.
Don't you just, I mean, I don't know about you, my listener, but
yeah,
it's an extraordinary amount of time. That's 10 times.
Yeah. I would say 10 times is probably a pretty good average. You know, if we're shooting an hour video, that it depends on how many feeds we have going too. If we have, you know, 2 different cameras, and then I have a screen recording, and maybe sometimes I'll use like a borescope or something. So I'll have a screen recorder going on that. That's 4 different feeds that need to be synced up and figure out which one you're bouncing to, and then cut out all of the dead space and, you know, whatever. I would say, but on average, I would say 10 times is probably a pretty good guess.
Take me back to the first day you decided to do this and you produced your first video. When was that?
We had this conversation a lot last night because so many people, I don't deal well with praise sometimes. Yeah. It just feels icky to me.
All right.
I don't know why. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just a internal, like, not everybody does well with it, but I had this conversation last night and I said, when I started this in 2011, roughly, like filming, it was Double Rainbow Guy and Charlie Bit Me on YouTube. And I only used YouTube as a platform because I knew it was free and I didn't know much about it, but I knew it was a platform that my students could access. And so I developed, you know, the book and the curriculum and the class, and you know, I'm teaching through it, and I'm out in the field, doing mobile diagnostics at different garages, and I'm starting to take, photos, digital photos of things I'm seeing, and then I'm writing up stuff on it, making PowerPoints, and
because that's how you were built.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and when I did that, you know, years and years later, I was like, well, now we have these cameras that are high def, and I'm like, well, I should start filming some of these procedures because now I have the book done and I'm teaching through it, and man, it would be awesome. I can talk about it in class. I can show you it in the book and show you a picture, talk about the procedures, but now let me show you what this actually looks like on the car. And that's what I started doing. And I only wanted my students.
It was only for your students.
For my students to have access to that case study that would reinforce the topic of the class that I wrote and the book that I wrote. I just wanted it for my students. And for the first year, Carm, I didn't monetize anything. I had 25 videos up, and I didn't care about ad revenue and YouTube and what's a YouTuber. That wasn't even a word then. Like, what is that? And then I just had people through that over that year say, hey, people from all over the world started finding it. Yeah. And they're saying, hey, what's this book you keep talking about? And that was my light bulb moment. That was like, okay, I can teach to the globe. Like it was.
But did you add Scanner? Were you Scanner in the early days?
I was Scanner Danner from day one.
Day one, okay.
Because one of my students called me that because every time they would see me, that's the class I teach. So every time they'd see me, I'd have a scanner in my hands, and it just made sense that my last name's Danner. So it was a female student that I had, and I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I can't remember her name offhand. I wish I did, because I'd like to give her props for this name, because I don't think she even knows that it was her calling me that day that made me think about, hey, that's a good name. But when I did that on YouTube, when I opened my YouTube channel, I was Scanner Danner right from the get-go. Wow. And I just picked that name because I thought it was catchy, and I went with it, and it was never a business. Now I'm Scanner Danner LLC. I actually have a business. That's my name. Yeah, who would have thought?
Hey, it's no secret. We're facing a technician shortage, and Napa Auto Care has a solution with the Napa Auto Care Apprentice Program. The program was pioneered by one of our own. Pete McNeil and Master Technician Jake Sorensen from McNeil's Auto Care in Sandy, Utah, realized that the problem of not having technicians available for hire was not going to solve itself and decided to take action and look at a different audience of individuals available for hire. A focus was put on younger individuals with the right passion, desire, and attitude to work in the automotive repair industry. Jake and Pete sought after these individuals and developed a technician apprentice program to give them the training needed to become a successful technician in today's world. The Napa Auto Care Apprentice Program includes a comprehensive 9-stage curriculum that includes a variety of types of training, and they are classroom training videos exclusive to the apprentice program. Now, these videos provide in-depth training from a successful master technician. Also, Autotech classes with instructor-led courses offered through Napa Autotech and Autotech e-learning. This web-based e-learning is designed to target specific training topics. And finally, hands-on learning. The apprentice will apply the skills gained from the classroom training videos, Autotech instructor-led training, and Autotech e-learnings in the shop with the guidance of a mentor. The apprentice program curriculum is competency-based, meaning an apprentice can move through each stage at a pace that best suits them. Most apprentices complete the program within 2 years. Upon completion, apprentices will have earned ASE G1, A4, A5, and AC certifications, adding industry validation to the skills an apprentice acquires. Look, having an apprentice in your shop will ultimately benefit your bottom line as they advance through the program. And in most cases, as the apprentice develops their skill set producing billable hours, you'll begin to see a growth in your gross profit by stage 5. One of the largest barriers to entry for individuals looking to enter the automotive repair industry is the cost of tools. Now, keep your apprentice motivated with an apprentice toolkit. Now, Napa Auto Care has worked with our supplying partners to offer an exclusive comprehensive tool set, including a 4-drawer tool cart for all registered apprentices. Hey, to learn more, members can visit member.napaautocare.com. So Rosedale is the college that you taught at. I think you left. Are you back?
I've never left fully. So in 2018, as this grew, it became harder and harder to do everything. I'm working probably 100 hours a week, teaching full time, and
not now.
Not now.
Okay.
Trying to manage, Scanner Danner as it grew, and answering 100 plus emails and messages a day, and all of that stuff takes time, and I slowly started taking like a term off. I'd work, a term is like 8 weeks. I'd take a term off, and then it was 2 terms a year, and then because we do 6 a year, and then it was 3 terms a year. It was like every other term I'm teaching, and now it is I do guest appearances.
Okay,
I'll substitute. I'm still a employee at Rosedale Tech. I'm kind of more of an advisory type thing now too. But I'm just not in the day-to-day classes.
So you're keeping your foot in the water there.
Yes, I am.
Adjunct professor, what do they call you? I mean, that means part-time, or do you have any kind of title at the school?
I don't know. That's a good question.
And the reason that I mentioned the word adjunct, which is, when I got involved in the advisory board and I hear them saying we need more adjunct professors, I had to look the word up, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I don't even know what that word means.
It means part-time. It means part-time instructor, adjunct.
Okay.
And the college that I'm on the advisory board with, they're looking for all kinds of part-time, and they're reaching out to every shop owner that they know of, and even or technicians at the dealership saying, "Can you take a night class for us?"
Yeah.
And I know you wouldn't do that, but you're involved in the college, and I was just wanting to take that opportunity to say, if you ever get approached, or you want to give back to the industry, or you'd like to find someone who could come in and intern, or you could find an apprentice, give back.
Yeah.
Take everything that you know, take your ASE certifications, and go teach.
Absolutely. We need more guys that are excited about this field to be teaching. What we don't need in this field is people who are tired of the field. They're burnt out. They're older. And they're like, I think I'm going to go teach. Are you kidding me? You are the worst person for that job. We don't want you. Don't come. Keep wrenching. Go do something else. What we need is the younger guys who are excited, who maybe they even feel like they're not ready to teach because they're not old enough. They don't have enough experience. Incorrect. 100%. That's the guy that we want in front of these young kids, telling them about this field and what it has to offer. And so many people have this mentality of like, I'm done, I'm going to go teach. We don't want you. That's my message to them.
Powerful message. I have not heard it stated like that so eloquently. So to your point, so if you're 55 years old and you're slowing down at the shop and you still think you're a pretty damn ace tech, Paul is kind of kindly telling you.
It depends. No, that's right. But it depends on that guy. How do you feel about this field?
Right.
How are you jaded? Or do you have this negative attitude you're going to bring with you? Are you tired? You're 55. Your body's beat up. You want to teach, and you're still excited?
Yeah.
Then absolutely, we want you. We want you.
There's always the exception to the rule, and I love how you qualified that because I think it's so important. There's a lot of people with a high level of energy, and commitment, and love of this industry, and the respect that if we don't help our younger people climb that ladder and guide them, and if you can check all those boxes, then please do it.
Yeah. 100%.
Wow.
Just be excited. You know, this field has a lot that's wrong with it. It does, from pay scales to customer base to, you know, just ripping each other down. There's a lot of negativity of this field.
Oh my God.
But there's a lot of good too.
I know.
Behind the scenes of all of that. Unfortunately, maybe the stories are 1 out of 10, 9 negative ones, but 1 positive one. But the students need to hear that 1 positive one because, and it's not a lie. It's true. And that positive one, I could share my life story, is that one. Yeah. And I'm not making it up.
No.
This field has been amazing for me from day 1 all the way through. Of course, I've had struggles, but I would never rip this field as being something you would not want to get into and suggest to a student that they should be doing something else. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I had Isaac and Keith Perkins in here before, and you talk about a drop of an idea that we got, and that was to get a panel together of counselors and or principals and or superintendents that have no idea that skilled trades are the most critical, and so really ask them some tough questions about automotive. You know what people can make, but because I think the steerage, that's being done by academia, what's the right way to say that? Is the steerage is keeping people away from us.
Absolutely, and it's been that way for a long time.
So Caleb works for you like Tracy works for me. Does Caleb ever say, "Hey, Dad, you should hang on, the beer's getting a little gray. Maybe you should die"? Does Caleb ever say, "Dad, I'll offer you some tips, instructions, ideas"?
He does. I don't know so much about like how I'm looking that day. There's been days where I'm like, Caleb, do you see that? Like, it's right now, it's pretty bad. I should have shaved a little before I came, but I see this one like whisker hanging out. It's like this random weird hair that's hanging out of the side of my face. And I'm like, Caleb, and we don't know it. I'm looking at it in the edits. Like the whole time this thing's waving at you as I'm talking. I'm like, I'm completely distracted by that. Caleb, where were you on that one, son? So does that sound familiar? Where were you on that one, son? So he doesn't. So
Tracy, you should have edited that stupid thing I said. You left it in.
Exactly.
I'm pretty good about visual.
Yeah.
I adjust to
Tracy does do the visual pretty good.
Well,
because she's a woman.
Yes. And she's, sees those details. And my son does too, but sometimes he's just worried about the technical side, make sure the lighting's good, make sure that, he's got me in focus and he's not worried about what I actually look like. And so that would be helpful if he would do that sometimes, to say, hey,
So Tracy said to me, she says, "I didn't bring my lint roller, Dad."
Yeah.
I actually do have it upstairs.
Oh, she has it
I
upstairs.
was picking dog hair off my shirt right
the dog
before
hair,
we started. I'm like, what's going on here?
The behind the scenes stuff that goes on for us trying to produce good stuff for people. Yeah.
Or another one might be like, I'm a pretty sweaty guy, so like summertime filming, and I'm working on a 95-degree shop, and it's 100 degrees outside, and I just have sweat like all over my back. I'm like, Caleb, you could have kind of hid that shot, like nobody wants to see that, stuff like that.
You came around the back to show what was going on, and my back is I hear you. Okay, So you work out of your brother's shop?
I do.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It's amazing. It's an opportunity that I never anticipated coming. I think it's been 2 years now. This is the garage. So just a little background on his shop. It's pretty cool. That shop opened in '93. And it was the first garage I ever worked for. They were a brand new shop, and there was an engineer and a 20-year Mercedes-Benz tech that partnered up and built this building, and Auto Perfection was the name. And I was the first hire. And I'm going to send you a picture of what I look like when they hired me. So we should cue that image right now. They hired this guy.
B-roll.
Right? They hired this guy, how I look, which was pretty cool. I'm the only guy there. I opened that shop brand new out of school.
Wait a minute, your brother didn't own it?
He wasn't there yet.
All right.
He wasn't there yet.
All right.
And I worked there for a year, just me and these two guys, fresh out of Rosedale Tech. And my brother's working in a different garage. And a year later, I got him that job. So I got him that job at that shop. We worked together for a few more years before we parted ways. I went a different direction. My brother stayed. And all these years later, 25, whatever years later, almost 30, he now owns the garage. And as soon as he signed the documents to say, he's now garage owner, I'm like, Danner, I call him Danner, I'm coming to film over at your shop. So that's what we're doing. And so, much to the dismay of one of my main other garages, Pete Latour, he's still a great friend. He's right down the road from me. I was like, Pete, I can't do filming here because you heard how long it takes me to edit and do things. I just can't do the volume of cars I used to because I don't fix cars unless I'm on camera. Yeah. And so it was my brother's shop. I'm filming at my brother's shop now.
Do you have a dedicated bay there?
No, we do not have a dedicated bay. In fact, when I pull into his garage, we don't even have a parking spot. That's how busy he is. So sometimes we're working out in the parking lot. Sometimes we're working in the middle of the shop. And either way, he'll move things around to get us in and, let us do our thing.
This is raw. I mean, this is the real raw world we live in. I mean, it's not this, oh my God, he's probably got lights up somewhere in a pristine floor. I mean, you're just a junkyard dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stan.
And, you talk about lighting. I'm going to pay, I told my brother that, let's pay for some updated lighting in his shop. I want to get rid of these old, I forget what type of bulbs they're called, but I want to get some better lighting for him that will help us too with our camera. So it's a win-win.
LED good for you?
What's that?
LED's good for you?
As long as it's not like, I don't know, Caleb knows all that. I don't know.
It's the Kelvin rating.
Yeah, I think it's like 4K or something.
Yeah, it's
ideal or something like that.
More white than yellow, probably.
But not too white. Like a 6K or something white is like fluorescent white. It's kind of like, I'm not sure. You're asking the wrong guy for that. That's why I pay Caleb.
I wonder if a better light would improve my olive oil complexion at all.
So maybe a more a yellow light, I don't know, would help. I don't know, Carm. That's funny.
It's too good. You restored a Dodge. Was this one of your original vehicles?
Yeah. Well, you have another B-roll shot we can use here.
All
I have this picture you're looking at. It's me and my wife. This is like 1994, and I have this old Dodge Power Wagon stepside, and I'm still with the same woman. We've been together for this January will be 30 years. We've been just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. We have 4 kids, and this was the truck, when we were dating. And I've always regretted selling my old Power Wagon, and so then to come across this new one, and that makes more sense now probably to you guys why maybe I was so excited talking about it in the podcast I did with Matt Fonslow. Is I have another one. It's almost like I have my old girlfriend back. Do you know, like it's the other woman in my life. She's back.
But it was your first.
Yeah, but I'm with the same woman. So it is more than just the truck. We're both riding it together, and it's awesome. Like unfortunately it's a stick shift, so she can't sit in the middle seat next to me because otherwise the stick's like right in her gut. But I often want her to scoot over and let me put my arm around you while we're driving, without the seatbelts on. We never wore seatbelts back then. But,
Never.
Yeah. I mean, I have seatbelts, but yeah.
This is so inspiring to me.
Yeah. Oh, wait, 1 second. So the B-roll shot of that, this is the updated version of me and my wife, 30 years later. So that was 93.
I love it.
29 years later, this is us with the new Power Wagon standing right next to each other. Same place, same driveway. It's her parents' driveway, same background.
Oh, neat.
Same body positions. I'm definitely fatter than I was and older, but yeah.
Did you do an episode on this?
We didn't. We didn't.
What?
I mean, I took some
All right.
pictures and wished her happy anniversary. And
All right.
I don't know, maybe it was on that one. It might have been more about the truck than it was our wedding anniversary post. I don't know.
Well, congrats on your anniversary.
Yeah.
But you have inspired me to think about my first vehicle, which was a 72 Camaro Rally Sport with the split bumper. It had a black Landau top.
Yeah.
Landau. What the hell's that, right?
Yeah.
That pleather top.
I remember that. Yeah.
And every time I go to a car show, I look for this vehicle.
Yeah. So you understand.
Yeah, but here's the connection that you just drove into me, a lightning bolt inside of me. My wife, who I was engaged at the time to another person, another woman, and when I met Ann, and I was DJing I was DJing at a club. That's where I met her, and she knew me in the 72 white Camaro.
That's awesome.
And so someday, Tracy knows the story, but someday I should tell this story on a podcast as to the evolution of time from 72 to when we got married in 76 and how we went our own separate ways, but yet connected. 6 months later, after I reconnected with Ann, we were married.
That's awesome.
And it's going to be 46 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We don't see that very often these days.
Yeah, it's amazing, but I got to get that 72 Camaro, and I got to get a picture. Maybe I should find it and just buy the damn thing if I,
exactly.
or find it, go anywhere to find one and
so
take
you
a picture.
understand, yeah, I mean, you understand
It's sentimental,
It
man.
is sentimental.
Oh my God.
Right off the bat, like this truck, and it's way more pretty than the other one ever was, but it's absolutely, I almost feel like a kid again when I get inside of it. So it only gets like 8 miles per gallon, but that's okay. I don't drive it that much.
Wow. Thanks for being here. Scanner's here to learn. He's trying to be in the background, but you're finding the love that the industry has for you while you're trying to hide, but you can't.
That's okay.
And he's here to do training. Thank you for this great update. It's marvelous to hear the continuing story of you and Caleb working for you, and there's a connection there. We should just go to dinner with Caleb and me and Tracy someday.
Absolutely.
We should do that.
So.
I mean,
Pittsburgh's not far.
yeah, Pittsburgh's not far. You're 4 hours from
We
me.
should absolutely do that.
I would really love that.
I appreciate being here with you guys again. And I think what you're doing is awesome too, Carmen. And then, almost creating a network and having other people under your wing, like Matt Fonslow. And, I just think, I think so much of him, and just what you're doing for the industry, what you guys are doing for the industry is very important too.
Yeah.
And you're a big part of it as well. And I thank you for having me here again. I'll come on anytime you want.
Thank you. And that reminds me of the people that were coming up like they've done to you last night, coming up to me, thanking me for the stuff, citing episodes, citing people's names, citing revelations that they had with it. And you sit there, and every time I publish something, no different than you, I hope I can help just one person. Because we started out with this theme 7 years ago, listen to learn just one thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And that sometimes I think about that too during the day, is like, who can I help today?
Yeah.
Just as a first thought, like and to be able to do that and not even know sometimes that we are helping people, even when we don't realize
That's
that
right.
we are.
Yeah. And to reinvent yourself and to come up with new ideas and different topics. And so it's an interesting parallel course. I'm doing the business acumen side, and you're doing the technical side.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for being here. Scanner Danner.
Thank you, Carm.